So managing your member, this section focuses on what your members' responsibilities are in terms of their reporting, and what your responsibilities are in terms of your just interactions with the member. We'll talk about the financial side of things in the next section. But the first thing that we're going to talk about is, what are you responsible for training your member on? Turn to the next page. Is your first thing we're going to talk about is your member service plan. This is, oh, turn one more page. I'm like looking over Larry's shoulder. This all talks about creating your member service plan, and the actual plan, is this. Your member service plan, think of this as your roadmap for you and your member. The purpose of this is to clarify expectations on your part and expectations on the member's part. And this is really the document where you personalize the member's experience for your club. The document does require some math. You're going to plan out how they get to 900 hours. Again, you need to, or 675 if you have reduced half-time members. How are they going to get there week by week, taking into account things like Christmas break? If your club closes for any of the holidays, if your club closes for long weekends, some people's clubs are open all the time, and when school's out, your club just runs all day. Again, how many hours do you expect your member to be there? Again, if you're doing Boys and Girls Clubs of America targeted programming, and they can do healthy habits, triple play, that sort of thing, you can have them there way more than 3 or 4 hours a day like you do after school. So really sitting down and thinking about that, like how are they going to get there in the math? You fill in what you expect them to teach. But like members say, oh, I'm going to teach healthy habits. Well, healthy habits is a 12-week curriculum. Are you going to teach healthy habits to the same 20 children again and again and again and again and again? Because that is not going to be healthy. That is a habit that will not be healthy for you or for them. So thinking through, if you're going to have them do triple play, you need to talk to them about, you're going to do triple play create a sport. You're going to do triple play jump, triple play run for this many weeks, like looking at the calendar and figuring that out. Passport to Manhood, again, awesome program. There are only so many things in the curriculum. Career Launch, there are only so many weeks in that curriculum, and they'll be like, I'm going to teach Career Launch. You're going to teach Career Launch every day of the week. Like you're at that club Monday through Friday. Are you, I don't know how many careers you can launch before they are all they've all taken off, and now you're done. So just really put the work in at the beginning to think that through with your member, then they know what to expect, and you're not trying to come up with something on the fly later, because that's when you're going to get into your prohibited activities. Oh my gosh, I don't have anything for you to teach today. I don't know where the healthy habits curriculum is. Just go watch the gym. That literally pops up at your club and is like, hey there, AmeriCorps member, what are you doing? And they're like, I'm playing in the gym, Mr. Leonard. And he's going to be like, no, you're not. Go find some AmeriCorps paperwork to do. Somebody else needs to watch these children. So the member service plan also outlines when are you going to talk to them, like when's going to be your weekly touch base. You can talk about your preferred communication style. I do not like it when my employees text me. You all can text me all you want, but that would drive me nuts. I was like, if you're going to be sick and not come in for a shift, you need to pick up the phone. I mean, I've had employees call me, they're saying, hold on, Miss Megan. Like, I would prefer that to the text, like, I can't make it in today. Sorry. And I'm like, you can't make it, I'm like, if you can't make it in, you need to call me now. Sorry, but not really sorry. Pick up your phone. So, I mean, maybe you're fine with that, and I'm just an old person. But, this is the time to sit down and talk to them about things like that. How should they dress at your club? Little girls want to be cute, and they come in with their open-toed shoes. I'm like, you are just an incident report waiting to happen with your cute little open-toed shoes. Wear closed-toed shoes when you work at a Boys and Girls Club. Small humans are going to step on you. Yeah. It's the reality. So use this as an opportunity to go over and plan with them. It gives me an opportunity. I really will read them. Like, I will go through them, I will check your math, and it gives me the chance to look for compliance issues so that we can fix it at the front. And my goal is never to like catch you guys out or be like, oh, you messed up, you know. I want to find it so somebody else doesn't find it later on and we get in trouble. If they're doing Youth of the Year every Thursday, that's fine. Youth of the Year is a long-term thing, you know, like I'm just going to be looking for things like that and trying to help you catch stuff that could cause a problem later. Also, you should do it because it's not optional, it's due. You're going to get a remind.com about it, you're going to get emails from me. If you turn to the page past that, so I handed out all my copies. So it goes on the back, you need to sign it, your AmeriCorps member needs to sign it. If there's a signature line on something and you send it to me with one of them blank, I will send it back to you. I know that that might sound a little bit pedantic, but I need a record that you didn't sit in your office and come up with this on your own, or that you didn't say, AmeriCorps member, fill this out. And they just send it in and you have no idea what they're doing. And they think Youth of the Year is a beauty pageant. You know, like let's, I'm just trying to look through. Reports and timesheet overview. I don't know that I want to do that one yet. The orientation report is also due. Flip forward a page in your book. I'm sorry that I don't have a book to look in while you guys are looking at that. No, that's not it. I'm sorry, Larry, I keep using yours. But at least you know you're on the right page. Oh, right before it's right before the service plan is the orientation report. This is just checklist. This is just all the things that you need to do when your member is on your site so you're not missing anything. A lot of them have probably already had, make sure they know where things in the club are. Tour of the club, key staff. If you have a staff handbook, your member needs a copy of it. They know where to find the calendar, the schedule, they know how to request time off. Members don't get like paid time off or official time off, but obviously, if they have a family event and they're gonna be gone around Thanksgiving, they need to know the proper way to let you know that. They'll have to make up those hours that they missed somewhere later on, so it's not like an employee who just gets, a day and they're like, oh, we logged those member hours anyway. No, if they were gone, they don't get any hours for that day, but they need to know, hopefully not via text message, how to let you guys know that they're going to be out of town or gone or sick. If you reimburse them for travel to trainings, let them know how to do that. If you're going to drive them yourself, I have sites that do that. That's why Treasurer and Sherry aren't here today. They're going to be at the even longer member training and work with me over their lunch because they drive their members, because that's their club's travel policy. So they need to know where Power Hour and BGCA targeted programming and supplies can be found. They have to have access to a computer with internet, so you need to let them know how to do that. We'll talk about the pre-service numbers report here in a second. They need to be enrolled in Leadership University. So that's a thing to, make sure this is just a checklist to streamline. Service plan completed and attached. If you're out, if you're sick, if you're on vacation, who do they go to? Who's the other staff member that actually knows something about AmeriCorps and won't have them doing a prohibited act, won't have them driving the bus around the playground while watching the children for their free time? Who should that person be? Can they log into Encore? Can the site supervisor log into Encore? Please let me find that out before, if Encore is being, if it's behaving inappropriately, please let me know that before the day that stuff is due. So that's why just, check, all simple stuff. But again, things that, if it gets forgotten, it will make your life and mine more difficult later on. So make sure and keep copies of what you send in. Keep a copy of that member service plan at your site. Keep a copy of your orientation report. Anything you send me, keep an electronic or a hard copy that you can come back to later. Because for all the paperwork that you send me, I have that for 7 sites, and at this point, if everybody fills their spots, at least 19 members. So it is not beyond the realm of possibility that you will send me something and I will ask you for it again because it just got lost in email or lost somewhere on my desk. And I'm perfectly fine if you're like, Megan, I sent that to you 3 days ago. I'll probably be like, I'm sorry. Please send it again. Please send me your electronic copy again. And make sure you check for signature and date lines so I don't have to send it back to you. That just saves both of us time. Okay. Now there's the member service plan, and then after that there's a list of reports that your member has to turn in. So go past the orientation report, then the service plan. Yeah, the AmeriCorps member reports and timesheets overview. This is what your member is responsible for doing, and kind of how you and I relate to that. Members enter a monthly timesheet in AmeriCorps. We have 2 main websites for this grant. We have eGrants, which is, think of it like the grandfather website. It's the federal government. It's the you are officially enrolled in AmeriCorps, and then I officially exit you, and that's how they get their education award. And then there's Encore. Encore is like the dysfunctional younger brother, the one you have to see every day, whether you like him or not, because he's and that's what they have to go into, and that's what they enter their time in.
They're going to know all this, right?
Yeah, I'm going to train them on all of this. I just want you guys to know, so when they come to you and they go, what's Encore again? Hopefully they won't ask like that. But you can tell we're like club kids, like, what? And I also taught college kids for a while, and they act just the same way. I'm supposed to do what? It's in your syllabus. They enter their time in Encore. So let's say, they're going to start in September. They enter their time. By the next month on the 10th, the site supervisor has to approve their time. I can't see their time until you approve it. It'll show me that they entered something, but by the 10th of the following month, feel free to do it sooner than that. It won't hurt my feelings. You need to approve it. What are you looking for? Did they enter? They should be entering their hours here. I actually have the website up. So this is also where you'll log in to do to put in your time. But I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to log in as program director, and I'll just show you what I see. So they have 3. While we're waiting on this, they have 3 things like that they can enter time in. One is like fundraising time. They should never enter anything in fundraising time. Even if they're out like looking for pizza for stuff, like that's still direct service because they're working for the kids. It's like that, and training and direct service. If you look in there and all of their hours are under training, you need to, reject that timesheet and have them go back in and change it. And there's a little place at the bottom where if you reject a timesheet, you can put in why you rejected it so that they are not looking at it going, I don't know what I did wrong. You don't have to call them. They should just be like, you entered all your time under training instead of direct service. They have to, let's see. So let's look. Encore is also very slow. This is not the internet connection here. This is Melissa's going. So I'll show you her hours, and they have a little spot, or they used to. They just changed the timesheet, so I don't know. Okay. So see, fundraising. Don't ever put anything in fundraising. Training, direct service, it totals their hours. And then when it comes to you, there'll be a spot at the bottom. I can go into a site supervisor's hours if anybody's entered theirs and show you what that looks like. But it just says, I approve, I do not approve, and a box for you. Once you click submit, it sends it to me. If I see something that's hinky, I can unlock it and send it back. AmeriCorps, it's never a done deal. Like, it's never like, oh my gosh, it's in wrong, the end of the world. We can always unlock it. We can always go back and fix it. It's just, again, that takes up your time. That takes up my time. So let's really monitor these kids and make sure they get it in. So that's where they enter their hours. And there are instructions on that. And beyond that, you flip one, the next thing that they turn in is the youth monthly report, which is, there's their instructions on how to log into AmeriCorps step by step. They'll get a copy of that too, but if they come in and you're like, I don't remember how, look at this, follow it step by step. The next one is their monthly report. This is something that will come to them through remind.com every month. It's a spreadsheet. We tried to report this in AmeriCorps last year. It didn't work. Or it worked, but I could not manipulate any of the data. Once it went in there, it would just give me this big spreadsheet of like member name, answer, member name for this month, answer, but no way to like collate or manipulate or combine anything. So we're just going to use what now feels like a very old-fashioned way. We're going to use email and Excel spreadsheets, but we'll get it and it will be done. Again, I will send this to them every month. Like, it's already set up in remind.com. And this just answers questions on how the program, how many kids have permission forms in their files. What was your attendance in Power Hour? What the two questions at the top are whole club questions, so they might be coming to you for help with this if you have a member tracking system. I want to know what's the average daily attendance for Power Hour in your whole club. So your AmeriCorps members tracking these 30 kids, but if you're a big club and you have, 3rd and 4th grade Power Hour, 5th and 6th grade, you have your kids separated out. I want to know kind of for everybody, and I also want to know the adult to child ratio. And again, that's for like all of Power Hour. For the room that they're in, it should be, always at least 2 adults to however many kids, because they're in there with another staff. But I want to know, you can break it down to 1 to whatever for the rest. And feel free, anything that's in your binders, feel free to write all over it, so that I can send you clean copies if you want, but in the way that makes sense to you. So that's their monthly report. The outcome report, that's also due on the 10th of every month. The monthly report is. The outcome report is there at the very, very end when they submit their pre and post test data to me. I will train them on how to submit that. They will actually do that work in their last training. They'll do a part of it so that they have hands-on time with that. That's just, again, I want you to know what I'm asking them for so we can best support ourselves and make sure it all gets in on time. And then the final thing that they have to keep up with is the AmeriCorps file box. I'm a big believer in not asking anybody to make up a system as they go. So everything they need to track, any piece of paperwork they need will either be in their member binder or in their file box. I actually have the files already inserted in the hanging folders in the link. So this is my level of commitment to this paperwork being done correctly. So the different things that are in their file box, again, are permission forms. They need to keep track of program attendance, incentive programs, average daily attendance for Power Hour, how many community outreach things they go to. All the questions, except for maybe those top 2 on that member monthly report, they should have the answers in their file box. If they're like, I don't know what to put here, you can say, get your file box. I'm going to get my site supervisor binder. Megan has put it in here, what we're supposed to do with each of these things. And all of their members, they're supposed to track 30 kids. They will have 30 blank manila folders to write the names of those kids on, and then keep their, that's where they keep the parent permission form. That's where they keep the pretest. at the end, that's where they file a post-test. I mean, anything that you could need, they have a place to keep it. It should all be everything. What is it? Everything in it. Everything has a place, and everything in its place. And its place is the file box. When Leonard comes for a site visit, when I come for a site visit, we're going to, we are going to look at the file box and go through it, because this is our proof that we're actually, the on the ground proof that we're actually doing what we say we're going to do with this grant. Let's see. All of this information, I told you there's a sheet that's like a detailed sheet of all the reporting. It tells you exactly, it's like this form due on this month, or due on this day of the month, this is where you file it. So all of that is in your binder. Other things to know about, the pre-service numbers report is in your binder. This is the one that you have to fill out, and it's basically just kind of the history of your program. So if you look past the member monthly report, yep, there you go, the pre-service numbers report, it's 2 questions, but I need this data because I need to show that your AmeriCorps member helped this be better. So that what was your ratio, how many volunteers did you have prior to your AmeriCorps member being there. So again, it goes in the approved volunteers folder in your file box. 2 questions. If your AmeriCorps member was there last year, they might already know the answer because they helped affect those numbers. If they didn't, this is something, it's on your orientation checklist too, to make sure that you do this and you file it just so it's there and you're not having to worry about it later. Flip to the next page. Community outreach documentation. Whenever you do send your AmeriCorps member out into the community, they need to fill out one of these. This is their little written record that they've been going out and doing these things. It goes on file in here under the folder labeled COD for Community Outreach Documentation. Okay, flip one more page.
They have to go out in public and do stuff?
That's part of their job description, so you can send them to do that. I will go over more like volunteer things with them in the November training. Here at the beginning, I really want them to get a grip on Power Hour, targeted programming, and then we'll roll out the volunteer part and kind of do some more targeted training on them with that later on. And that's something too that we'll talk about like on our monthly calls. Like I'll give you guys the heads up, like, okay, if you're not settled into these things, I want, into Power Hour, BGCA targeted programming, I'm gonna want Leonard to come out and help you with that and get that going. And then around November, we need to start being more intentional, definitely than we were last year for my returning folks, about like, okay, it's time to find places for them to go out and to start recruiting. You can't make anybody apply to be a volunteer, and then Lord knows once they get approved to be a volunteer, you can't make them show up. I was in a training once where a woman said a reliable volunteer is like Sasquatch. Everybody's heard of one, but they've never seen it. But this is our, if they're out in the community regularly, just statistically it increases our chances, and it shows that even if folks aren't coming out of the woodwork, because everybody's community is different, we're doing our best, we're doing our due diligence to try to round up, to try to generate volunteers for your sites.
Now she does this outside of working at the club, right?
You schedule that.
Hours?
Yeah, she counts those hours. Those are definitely member service hours, and it's something that, so when you're doing the service plan, that you can count on that. You can say, okay, when the club goes to a full day schedule, or when we're not doing Power Hour, one of the things that she can start setting up is like, Kiwanis and Rotary are getting together for Christmas. So she can start going and talking about those things. The page that you're on now is the member evaluation. You have to evaluate your member 2 times a year. Mid-year's due on the 31st. Again, you can send it to me before that. I'm just saying on the 31st because I'm not really going to be calling you on New Year's Eve. But that's when your remind.com will start reminding you around them to fill. It has to be signed by you. It has to be signed by your member. End of the year is due on May the 10th. Scan and send these to me. And again, please keep a copy for your records. But that's just where another touch base, you go through your member. This is something that I review. If your member is getting marked poorly, I think We didn't have a member released from service this year that we were like, you gotta go. But we did have some, I did have one that we had to do a lot of write-up on, because when she did, like, nobody was fighting it when she did leave, but this is just kind of keeps a paper trail for us where it's like, yes, we are checking in with our members. We are, you know, just like you wouldn't fire an employee just out of the blue and be like, you're gone, I don't like your face. This checks in with shows that we're having like regular check-ins. Okay, other odds and ends that if you keep flipping past that, identifying members at your site. This is a big AmeriCorps thing, is that your AmeriCorps member needs to look like an AmeriCorps member. The federal government is paying for it, and they are in love with their AmeriCorps logo. So your AmeriCorps member will get a name tag that has AmeriCorps on it. Your AmeriCorps member is going to get 2 AmeriCorps t-shirts that have the logo on the arm and the chest, and they're also going to get a hoodie. They don't know it, but they're going to get beanies when the weather gets cold. They're going to get AmeriCorps pins. They're going to have tons of AmeriCorps stuff to wear. They need to have at least one thing on when they come to work at your club. When they go out into the community, I mean, I would love for them to be in there. The AmeriCorps shirts are blue. They're like kind of Boys and Girls Club blue this year with the AmeriCorps logo, so I'm sneaking that in. Or their red shirts from last year, or they need to have something on and their AmeriCorps name tag whenever they're serving. But they need to be. They need to have something on that's AmeriCorps. I tell them they don't have to wear their t-shirt every day. They can just wear their name tag on their regular clothes. But if you're never seeing your AmeriCorps member in their shirt or their hoodie, you need to be like, hey, you have 2 shirts, so at least 2 days a week, please tell me you're doing laundry at least, you know, at least once a week. Or you're keeping, you know, they need to have that on. Inside the front of your binder there's an AmeriCorps placard, and there are AmeriCorps window clings that I got for you this year. Slap those up around your building. We'll talk about site visit monitoring. When I come for a site visit or Leonard comes for a site visit, that's actually on our checklist that the commission requires us to look for. There needs to be an AmeriCorps sign up. The only person who got a pass for this was BGC of McAllister last year, because I could never remember to give them a sign. This year I have a sign for everybody and in the window clings. If your AmeriCorps member has like a special classroom that they're teaching in, man, put that cling on the window, put it on a front door, put it on an office window. AmeriCorps is a great program, and it is something that we should be proud of. So make sure you've got that clearly identified and that your members are clearly identified. At one club I recommended, if you have shirts that say staff on the back, that are like club and they say staff on the back, don't have your AmeriCorps member wear that shirt. They're not your staff member. They're your AmeriCorps member. So kind of, you know, and you want the other staff at your club to think of them as an AmeriCorps member. So don't kind of like muddy those waters. But if you want to give me a shirt from your club that says staff, I would so be happy to wear it when I show up for your site visit. Detailed list of, okay, flip forward. Extra copy of the job description is in there. Again, if it's not on the job description, call me and ask me about it. But that's the one that will be attached to their, I will edit the May 30th to June 30th date on there, but that's what will be attached to their membership contract. So again, if it's not in there, ask Megan before you have them do it. Feel free to flag that one. Flip forward one more. Okay, that's the document I was telling you about, the detailed list of reporting requirements and how they're reported. This is a great reference for when your members have questions, because I mean, I have really gotten incredibly nitty gritty in that. So if you want to flag that one with a Post-it, I said that tells you down to which folder in the member file box something should go. It's all in there. And to flip past that one, you're going to have to flip quite a few pages, because like I said, I'm kind of a data geek, if you haven't figured that out already, so I geeked out on that document. The last one is additional service hours. if your member wants to serve somewhere else, and we might actually be doing a service project with them at the November training, they can serve up to 5 hours, or they can count 5 hours towards their like 900 or 675 at outside service. So this is not, I volunteer at my kid's school, I volunteer at my church, like places that they've already been. This is, I'm gonna go to the food bank, I'm doing MLK Day of Service, I'm doing, you know, a Kiwanis service activity or a Rotary service activity that they're gonna show up in, again, in their AmeriCorps gear. You have to approve it, and I have to approve it before they do that, but they can count 5 hours. Like I said, it can't be something where they're like, I'm gonna go help at my kid's school. You would have been doing that anyway. Or I'm gonna help out at my church. You would have been doing that anyway. That's your obligation to God, not your obligation to AmeriCorps. We're not signing off on that, but they can do, if they ask you like, oh hey, I walked dogs for 3 hours this weekend at the local shelter, yes, that counts. They need to get approval beforehand. But that's what that is. That is an option. I didn't have anybody use it last year, but again, if somebody has a heart to serve in their community, let's make sure and recognize that in every way possible. Okay, are there any questions? I'm sure there will be tons of questions when you actually get into this, but are there any questions right now or anything that you're just like, Megan, that does not make sense that the members are doing that?
I'll get lots of calls from me.
That's fine. I would I would much rather you call me with questions than me calling you after the fact and going, hey, you know, those reports that we trained on, I was serious about that. Those are like actually due today. So no, again, feel free to call me. That's why I gave you guys my card. I'm a part-time employee, believe it or not. But like I said, Tuesday and Thursday mornings, I'm on my email, I'm on my phone. I will answer calls other times than that, but like if you don't hear from me on a Monday, I haven't like cut you off, like, will not answer any more of her questions. It's probably just Tuesday morning is when I'll get back around to it. But yes, feel free to call me if it's an emergency or something like that. Always, I should tell you guys, always leave me a voicemail. If there's just a number and there's no voicemail, I probably won't call it back. Because I'll just be like, oh, whatever it is, they figured it out. If it wasn't important enough to leave me a message, or email me, but I mean, feel free to call me or text me like 911, like, Megan, my AmeriCorps building is on fire, call me now, and I'll call you. Any other questions? Hearing no other questions, I officially declare lunch. Lunch is served out there, and also I will go through your number. So while we eat, lunch should be that way, whatever you ordered, and I'll sit with you guys. Oh, question, if you watched this all the way to the end, email me with your favorite cartoon from when you were little. Go Thundercats.